Good afternoon, everybody. It is Thursday, the 23rd of September. This is Chad again with another video today. I wanted to talk about a few things. I made a mistake. Let me rephrase this. I wanted to address a topic here. I had the unfortunate idea that I would type in loneliness/depression in the search engine in some of the Japan communities. And holy moly, there's a lot of people here who seem to be really struggling, and understandably so. So it's something I wanted to talk about and really get my feelings out there and try to give some hopefully helpful advice. One thing I'll say before I get any of this started, though, is if you're really suffering, if you're having trouble, if you don't see any way out, get help. Don't listen to YouTube videos. Well, we actually do listen to YouTube videos if there's anything that could be helped from it. But if really you're on your last thread and you're ready to bow out of the game, don't fall into the trap here of, gammon culture where you just say, well, I'll just grin and bear it. Get help. It's okay. It's okay to ask for help. But with that serious and rather depressing note out of the way, let's get started here. So today I wanted to make a quick list of a few ways to kind of make the best of your life in Japan. It's not something where you have to do each and every one of them, but it's something I think would help a lot of people. Some of them are really more obvious than others, and some of them I think maybe if you're doing 2 or 3 already, the next one might help you out or just make you feel more like part of the community. Since I think that's really a common thread in a lot of these is kind of being cut off. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, and this one's the most important to me personally, is just getting exercise. I was 300 pounds when I moved to Japan. Like, I was a big boy, and I know that no one who's that big likes the way they look. They don't like, when they look at themselves in the mirror and it's hard. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. No one likes it. No one likes being that way. And a lot of people probably get more exercise here than they thought they would just by virtue of, if you have to take the train or your commute is usually involving a lot of walking, so on and so forth. But I would say get a regular, it doesn't have to be the gym. Gym's great, but you don't have to. Start a regularly scheduled routine. Mine, when I first started, so I went from 300 pounds to 215. I'm up again because COVID kind of destroyed my routines, and, well, that's a different story, but my routine was running 4 nights a week, so every other night I would run, and then I'd have an off night where I lifted weights at home. I just bought some dumbbells and did lifts and squats and stuff like that, and I lost like 85 pounds. That was over the course of a year. You'll feel better, you'll have more confidence, and you'll kind of get out of that rut where you get home, you take a shower, you look in the mirror, and you're not happy with what you see. Exercise is great for your mental health. Don't underestimate it. If you're not doing it, just, like I said, start with walking. Walking is fine. 30 minutes every other night, walk. You're good. Next thing I would really recommend to help people out, and this is kind of more of a community thing, but that would be to visit your local businesses. This doesn't just mean like walk into a store and walk out. Actually become their customers, their patrons. I live in Kyoto right now. I didn't always live here. I've lived in, Hokuriku and Kobe, and so it's kind of different depending on where you live, but Kyoto has a lot of like kisaten, like mom and pop shop cafes. It's like a husband and wife running it. These are great. These are fantastic. Go there a couple times, maybe on your second or third visit, introduce yourself, ask for their names. I've made a note here just because I think it's important for a lot of people is to become a fixture in other people's lives, not just a fascination. I think that's one of the big problems that foreigners complain about here is that, people stare at them, or I say them, I'm one of you. People stare at us, or, they'll make a comment to you that's kind of unwarranted, or they won't sit next to you on the train. This is all par for the course, gaijin stuff here. Involve. This is kind of a step you have to take to involve yourself in the community. Go to these places and really make yourself part of the town. It'll help a lot. It'll help a lot because you'll start running into people. They're like, oh hey, they'll talk to me. Oh hey, Chad, how's it going? So it feels good to be part of a community, no matter where you live, whether you're at home or abroad. So definitely that would be a big thing for me. The next thing I wrote here, and this is a hard one to do, is don't overfixate on racism. So if you're here long enough, you're gonna have the experience at some point. It's gonna happen, and it might not be in an obvious form, but there's gonna be someone who just feels the need to ruin your day with something. I've been pulled over by the police for just riding my bike or waiting for my friends, or asked to show my ID and the stuff, just for like benign activities I was doing. It's completely frustrating. And what happens is, if it happens a couple times, your mind kind of starts to create a pattern where there might not be one. You'll start to see it everywhere. All of a sudden, everything becomes, was that racist? Or, was that a slight against me somehow? Or, and that's the worst that's the worst trap you can fall into, because then everything becomes a problem. Even some person asking if you can read kanji or use chopsticks becomes like, why would you ask that? Or maybe you go into, a Starbucks, and the barista, whoever's taking your order, speaks in English. Maybe they speak really good English, so they address you in English. And you're like, well, how did you know I speak? I know a guy who got pissed because he would get addressed to in English. Like, why don't you speak to me in Japanese? And they don't know. Relax. This is really difficult. I know it's hard to not fall into this trap once you've had, that experience once or twice, or maybe even 3 times, because you start to see it everywhere. I'm going to take a sip of water here because I'm getting thirsty. It's definitely something that can hurt, but try not to overfixate on it. I know that's a kind of a vague piece of advice, but if you're seeing it everywhere, you're going to be miserable. I'd also say, and this is one that kind of gets to me when I hear people do this, is don't hide out in your apartment. I had an old coworker when I worked in Eikaiwa, excuse me, who his excuse for everything was, I'm an introvert. He would make a mistake at work, and we'd be like, well, why didn't you ask someone for help? Oh, I'm an introvert. I can't do that. Being an introvert is not an excuse for being a coward. You can be an introvert and prefer, being at home and doing your own thing, and, recharging on your own, playing video games, whatever. That's not an excuse to never leave your apartment except to go to work. You're isolating yourself and cutting yourself off from experiences. And this is what I don't understand, because you move to a different country, like quite a ways out of your comfort zone. For a lot of people, you took a job where you have to interact with people in front of groups. You have to speak in front of groups. I know so many Eikaiwa teachers who, like, your literal job is one of the most extroverted things you could choose, being a teacher. And then you just hide out in your apartment. Or you don't ask for help because I'm an introvert. It's not an excuse. Being an introvert is great. I would say I'm pretty, I don't know if I'm on the introverted side, but I have moments where I just wanted to freaking cut everyone off and go inward. But don't let that mindset keep you from going out and living a life. I think my last piece of advice is the least important in a way, but also it's the one that can help the most for me. And that's to get a hobby that forces you out. So recently I learned how to play shogi, and I love it. It's great. Um, I like chess a lot too, and I wanted to try shogi, and then kind of when I got into the depth of everything, excuse me as I sip on my water here, you kind of see, even though it's similar, it's such a different beast, and it's exciting to talk to people about it and to watch, YouTube channels about it, or if you find it on TV and there's a tournament and you see what they're doing, and then all of a sudden you understand it. You're like, oh, he's doing that. Oh, why did he do that move? I'm using shogi as an example just because I did it, but obviously that's not the only thing. I mean, I've got buddies here who got into cosplay. And that's a harder one because of COVID. I feel bad for them right now because it's not like there's any conventions that they can go to and kind of look forward to. But definitely finding a external hobby that forces you out and kind of gets you involved in places outside of Reddit and your apartment is great. I know there's I think I saw a Discord the other day for gamers in Japan, and a lot of it was like board gamers, so they actually go and meet up and they play. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons, but they go play D&D or what else is it? I've heard Settlers of Catan. I've never played that either. I heard that's really popular though. Definitely take a look at that stuff. Even if it's like board games, Shogi's a board game, for Christ's sake. Even if it doesn't get you involved with the Japanese community, that's fine. Go out and learn. Get involved with your fellow gaijin community. That's great. But just don't let yourself get trapped at home. This kind of led off from number 4, so I guess it's kind of related. But don't let yourself get trapped. So that's about it for today. It was kind of free form, just kind of talking after I read all these threads of people who are really, having trouble, getting adjusted, or maybe they fall into a big rut. I hope these things can help you out. If you haven't done one of them or two of them, definitely give them a try. Like I said, I would always start with exercise if you're in a rut. If you're kind of starting to have the first signs of depression, get out there and run, walk, buy some dumbbells. Just keep your body active, and your mind will follow your body. It's helped me a lot, and I'm sure it could help you guys. That's number 1. The rest of these I think are great, but again, exercise is always my number 1. All right, well, this has been Chad. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.